On the morning of September 11th, 2001, 4 commercial airplanes were hijacked in the United States. 2 struck the World Trade Center in New York. 1 hit the Pentagon. United Airlines Flight 93 was different. There were 44 people on board, 33 passengers, 7 crew members, and 4 hijackers. At first, the flight appeared completely normal, but about 40 minutes into the journey, the cockpit was breached. The aircraft abruptly changed direction, turning back toward the east. What happened next has been reconstructed based on flight recordings, phone calls, and the 2006 film, United 93. The story begins earlier that morning at Newark International Airport. The terminal was busy, just like any other weekday. Captain Jason M. Dahl, First Officer Leroy Homer Jr., and the entire airport staff carried out their duties with professionalism, unaware that among the passengers that morning were individuals with malicious intentions. Passengers for United Airlines Flight 93, scheduled to travel from New Jersey to San Francisco, lined up calmly at the gate. Security checks revealed nothing unusual. No alarms were raised. No one realized that 4 terrorists had already passed through screening. After boarding was completed, the aircraft slowly taxied toward the runway and took off. At the same time, hundreds of miles away, air traffic controllers at the Boston Air Traffic Control Center were facing an unexpected problem. Contact had suddenly been lost with American Airlines Flight 11, traveling from Boston to Los Angeles. Repeated attempts to reach the cockpit failed. Then, controllers heard disturbing voices over the radio. The first serious suspicions of a hijacking began to form. Those fears were confirmed when Flight 11 deviated from its assigned route and turned toward New York City. The incident was immediately reported to the National Flight Control Center in Virginia and to air defense authorities. As the aircraft approached Manhattan, it disappeared from radar. Moments later, news reports confirmed that a commercial airplane had crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. Soon after, another aircraft, United Airlines Flight 175, was also reported hijacked. Like Flight 11, it changed course toward New York and vanished from radar near Manhattan. Live television broadcasts captured the moment the plane struck the South Tower. Within hours, both towers collapsed. Nearly 3,000 people were killed. Tens of thousands more were injured. That same morning, 2 additional planes were hijacked. One of them, American Airlines Flight 77, disappeared from radar while en route to Los Angeles. Tracking data showed it heading toward Washington, D.C., raising fears that the White House was the intended target. Instead, the aircraft crashed into the Pentagon, the headquarters of the United States Department of Defense. Attention would soon turn to the 4th hijacked aircraft, United Airlines Flight 93. Inside the cabin, the attackers began to act. One of the hijackers stood up from his seat in the business class and entered the restroom, where he prepared what appeared to be an explosive device concealed beneath his clothing. Moments later, the hijacking began. A flight attendant was attacked near the front of the plane. Panic spread through the cabin. Passengers rushed toward the back as the attackers forced their way toward the cockpit. As the co-pilot stepped out of the cockpit, everything changed. One of the terrorists lunged forward and stabbed him. Almost instantly, the other attackers rushed the cockpit, overpowering the pilot, who was still trying to control the aircraft. At the Boston Flight Control Center, air traffic controllers suddenly picked up fragments of this chaos over the radio.
United 93, Cleveland, how do you hear?
Now they knew. United Airlines Flight 93 had been hijacked. Ziad Jarrah, the terrorist trained to fly the plane, took control. He adjusted the aircraft's heading, turning it toward Washington, D.C., the intended target, the United States Capitol. Inside the cabin, fear spread fast. Ahmed al-Hasnawi stood at the front, threatening passengers with what appeared to be a bomb strapped to his waist. No one knew if it was real. No one dared to test it. Back in Boston, controllers kept trying to make contact. There was no response. At the same time, they began to suspect something even worse. This might not be the only plane under attack. The scale of the situation was becoming terrifying. In the cockpit, the hijackers received confirmation. The attacks on the World Trade Center had succeeded. Their mission was unfolding as planned. In the cabin, a flight attendant asked Hasnawi for permission to help an injured passenger. He was allowed, but the wound was too severe. The man had lost too much blood. He didn't survive. While checking the cabin, one of the crew glanced toward the cockpit and froze. The bodies of the pilot and co-pilot were being dragged out. Panicked, he quietly warned the others and told them to move toward the back of the plane. Word spread. Soon, every passenger understood the truth. The pilots were dead. Then the phone calls came in. Families on the ground told them about the other hijacked planes, about the World Trade Center, about the Pentagon. Slowly, a horrifying realization took shape. This wasn't about bombs. The plane itself was the weapon. Whispers turned into discussions. Discussions turned into decisions. They knew this was a suicide mission, and if they did nothing, they would die anyway. At the back of the plane, passengers gathered quietly. They searched for anything they could use as a weapon: carts, forks, knives, a fire extinguisher. Some prayed. Some made final phone calls. Some sat in silence, preparing themselves. The fear was overwhelming, but so was the resolve. A plan formed. One of the passengers, strong and trained in judo, would lead the charge, targeting the bomb carrier. Another passenger revealed he was a pilot, ready to take control if they succeeded. When the moment came, a single shout broke the silence. They charged. The bomb carrier was struck down. The bomb, revealed to be fake. Inside, Jarrah locked himself into the pilot's seat and violently forced the plane up and down, trying to throw the passengers off balance. Food carts were shoved forward. Fire extinguisher gas filled the cabin. Still, they kept coming. The cockpit door began to crack. Blow by blow, they forced it open. Inside, the terrorists were desperate. Jarrah knew it was over. He pushed the controls forward. The ground rushed closer, faster, closer. And then, everything went dark. Of the 4 planes hijacked that day, United Flight 93 was the only one that never reached its target. It crashed into an open field in Pennsylvania. There were no survivors. The plane hit the ground at a speed of approximately 560 to 580 miles per hour. The impact created a crater about 15 feet deep and 30 feet wide. The aircraft disintegrated into small fragments, with most debris found being no larger than a notebook. The cockpit voice recorder, CVR, and flight data recorder, FDR, were discovered buried about 20 to 23 feet underground. The largest pieces recovered were parts of the two engines and a section of the fuselage roughly 5 feet long.